Next, let's talk about just the cage structure itself. They come in a lot of different shapes and sizes, and it affects how strong the cage is, which affects how long your unit lasts, how much abuse it can take, and a few things that's pretty critical for just functioning. There's two basic designs out there that you'll see. A few variations, but you'll see a double hoop and a single hoop design. The double hoop is all about strength. Let me give you a few scenarios where the strength of the cage really matters. Number one is when you do a forward launch. You'll see two terms when you're looking at paramotors: reverse launch and forward launch. A reverse launch is where there is enough wind that the wing, as soon as it is introduced into the airflow, can fly by itself. And so when you do that, you do it in reverse. You would stand with your fan facing away from the wing. The wing is towards where you're viewing from, and I'm going to pull that wing into the airstream, and it will just inflate and come up. Once it's up and flying and I'm controlling it, I will turn and go. And so in that scenario, there is no stress on the machine at all. The other, or the second way that you launch, is in a forward. And that's when there is not enough wind for the wing to fly by itself, so you have to basically produce it by your own effort. You have to run the wing into flight. And when you do that, the wing would be laid out behind me, and I would take the risers in my hands, and I would run, and with my own effort and you can use the thrust of the engine, you're going to bring that wing up and then run fast enough that you get into the air. When you initially hit that wing, there can be quite a bit of force against those risers that's wrapping around the sides here and going back to the wing. As soon as that wing is starting to inflate, there can be a lot of pressure on here from that riser going around the corner. If this structure is not strong enough, your whole cage can collapse from that stress, and it falls back into the prop explodes, your cage explodes, there's obvious danger to yourself, and probably the lines of your wing get chopped up. So really sucks when that happens. You lose money, you can't go flying, you have to get a lot of repairs. It makes the sport much more expensive. And so so that's one scenario where a double hoop keeps that from happening. It's strong enough that it can take a lot of pressure without breaking. The other main reason for a double hoop over a single hoop is just for the day-to-day wear and tear on the unit. Sometimes it will fall on its side, sometimes you'll bump things, sometimes when you're flying along you'll catch the branch of a tree or something, and if it has very much flex in it, it can go back into the prop explodes, and your day gets a lot worse. So, like I said, common sense. You want as much strength in this structure, in the whole unit that you're trusting your life to in the air, as possible. I'm a huge fan of double hooped units. There are some good single hooped ones, but for me and the way that I like to fly, I like to treat my paramotor like any other piece of equipment, and I want it to be tough enough to, take a couple of dings and stuff without being catastrophic to its basic structure. So those are the two main things for having strength in the cage. Let me add another one to that, which is going to bring into play the frame. So oftentimes, especially when you're starting out, it takes a lot of coordination to get the wing into the air, to get the throttle on at the right time. You're running, it's heavy, heavier than what you're used to. It's just a lot of coordination. And in the beginning, you fall a lot. And sometimes you fall directly on your butt, sometimes you'll fall on your side, but there's a lot of potential to fall. And even when you've been paramotoring for years, you can trip, stumble, maybe you put your foot in a hole and you fall down. The impact almost always happens somewhere below this half of the frame, whether you fall on your side or something like that. And when it hits, and you've got your weight behind it. You know I'm 220 pounds. And when I hit, if that is not strong enough, again, it will flex into the prop and it will all explode. I have broken a few props and a few cages doing that. Not on this unit. On a previous unit, I broke, I think, 2 props, a whole cage setup, and the frame. It was very expensive and extremely frustrating. One of them happened on a road trip where it was lots of planning that went into place. Went on this road trip and it broke on me because I fell, and the whole trip was just a disaster because of it. So those things happen, and they happen quite a bit. So having this strong for me is just a no-brainer and makes sense. Okay, now let's talk about the frame. The frame is where it's the central structure where everything else is attached to. A couple of things about that. On the lower portion of this frame, you'll see under here that the bottom frame here, it has these skid bars where the motor basically rests. And as it comes around here, it curves. And where that comes into play is oftentimes you're flying along or you're coming into land and maybe you lose your footing, or you're going too fast, or you're landing downwind and so your speed is higher than what you thought. And you'll come in and basically put your legs out and slide in on your butt. And it can happen, you know, it's happened to me probably 15 to 20 times. This being rounded allows the whole unit to slide with you. And there's no point of hard impact. You just slide in and, you know, everything's fine. But some designs end this structure into a 90-degree angle. And I'll throw in a shot that shows an example of that. And if you come in and you hit on the ground with a 90-degree angle, that just digs into the dirt and immediately stops. But you're still going forward. And so the frame down here and the cage structure takes all of that weight as you're trying to go forward, but it's stuck in the dirt. And it basically bends back into the prop, and you have a prop strike. You lose your prop, you lose your frame and your cage, and it's just a huge hassle. So down here, these being a rounded corner makes a ton of sense. I don't know how many times it's saved me or how much money it saved me, but it has been a lot. Okay, the other thing is just make sure that the frame is robust. Sometimes you'll see a very, very light caliber of metal gauge, a very light gauge of metal that makes up the frame. And eventually when you fall on it, you'll break it. There's a lot of designs out there. Just look around, find one that's robust. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the harness. This is a flat top Ninja, and it comes with a unique harness. There's only 2 models out there that has this basic design of a harness, which I call a suspended harness, because it suspends from these bars here and creates a seat. Most designs of harnesses hang from here and are basically more like a paragliding harness where everything wraps around you, but it's not suspended out in front to create this seat. So a few things to think about the harness, and I've included some links below for places that you can look at different harnesses. But here's a few things to think about. The number one danger for paramotors is body parts in the prop. The number one cause of death is from drowning, because water is an attractive place to fly, and it's just fun to play around with it. If your motor quits for any reason while you're above the water and you go into the water, a lot of harnesses, the other type that I was talking about that hangs from here, straps on once around each leg, once around the stomach, and then 2 straps over the shoulder with a clip to tie it all together. In a panic situation, pilots most often cannot get all of those small buckles undone and get out of their harness and up for air, because this basically is an anchor in the water. And they can't get up for air, and they drown. This design right here has a quick release harness. that once in, you have a leg that comes here, a leg here, and then these go over your shoulders. So you're strapped in just as securely. But when you need to get out, one pull, everything falls away and you're instantly free. Huge safety in the event of a water landing, and a lot of pilots have been saved by that when they went in the water. Besides that, there's a huge convenience factor to this design that I love, and that is you can get in and get out very quickly. So the way I set up my wing is I'll throw out my wing, clip it in, the unit stands by itself, which not all units will stand on the ground by themselves. I clip it in, I get everything ready, make sure I'm 100% ready, sit down, clip in, and take off. Sometimes when you go to take off, maybe the tip of your wing has folded over or something because the wind blew it, or maybe the direction of the wind shifted so you have to change direction. You just pop out, change everything up, and then get back into your motor. If you have one that has a lot of buckles, those are a much more intense process to get in and out of. It's not a huge deal, but it's big enough that you don't want to take the motor off to fix the wing. And so you'll see some pilots going around with the weight of the motor on their back, fixing their wing, or walking around the field because they don't want to get in and out of their motor because they have 5 buckles to undo. This is so awesome in that respect because it's just convenient on the field. You can get into the air fast, and if anything goes wrong, you can jump out of your motor, fix it, jump back in. Really awesome. So that's this harness. Harnesses adjust in different ways for different comfort. The ones that's in the links below, there's a lot of designs there. Some are heavier, some are lighter. Some will have more padding in the seat and in the shoulder areas to create more comfort. It's not a big deal as far as those things go. The main thing is that you get a harness that fits you.